18-0 Jayhawks can tie their best start ever under Roy Williams with a win tonight against Texas A&M. KU's been #1 for 8 straight weeks. They've won 38 in a row at home, and they have the nation's longest home court win streak on the line against the Aggies, also one of the top scoring teams in the country. Good evening, everybody. This is Trey Bender. Kansas getting it done in a variety of ways. My broadcast partner is Chris Piper. And Chris, they've really been led by the play of Billy Thomas. He's been special.
He really has. He's been a game breaker for Kansas against UConn. He had 8 straight points in the second half, which really busted the game open for Kansas. Everybody knew Billy Thomas could shoot the 3, but he is darn near to 50% from the 3-point line, and that's where he shoots exclusively. He's also picked it up on the defensive end, which is important for him to be able to get in the game.
Kansas trying to go 19-0, the #1 team in America, up against the Aggies. Back with more after this. Tonight's Kansas game is brought to you in part by Pizza Hut, making it great again and again. The Delta Dental Plan of Kansas, the leader in dental benefits. The new Dodge, see the friendly Dodge dealer near you. The Kansas Lottery, somebody's always winning the Kansas Lottery. Southwestern Bell, count on Southwestern Bell for the communication services you use every day. Yes, it's that simple. UMB Bank, with more than 30 locations across Kansas to serve you. UMB Bank, America's strongest banks. Harrah's North Kansas City Casino and Hotel. When you're looking for twice the fun and excitement, it's the only place to go. Harrah's, a great time every time. Sprint, the official telecommunications provider to Kansas University basketball. Brewery Fresh Bud Light, who reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. And by Shelter Insurance, for your life, home, car, farm, or business. Shelter Insurance will always be there for you.
Kansas getting set to take on the Aggies of Texas A&M. Hi everybody, I'm Mark Ewing. Welcome to the telecast. College basketball watchers will find it very interesting that Tony Barone, the head coach of Texas A&M, has never coached against a team from Kansas, though he spent 6 years with Creighton and now in his 6th season at Texas A&M. The interesting thing about Barone is this: his sideline antics described as basketball theater worth the price of admission. We'll see. Jayhawk fans will see, and you will see at home. Now here's Chris and Trey.
Okay, Mark, thank you. This Texas A&M team, 6-8. They've lost 7 games in a row, though some of those have been close. Their go-to guy, Calvin Davis, can do it on the glass and score as well. And then Tracy Anderson, the point guard, he runs the show. For the Jayhawks, all 5 starters are in double figures, and Roy Williams, the 9th season at Kansas, over 80% winning percentage. Rafe LaFrentz, the leading scorer, and Jock Vaughn at full strength, though he does have a sore knee. He'll be ready to go here tonight. Tonight's pregame show has been brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts. For the CarQuest store nearest you, call 1-800-492-HEART. Kansas and the Aggies. Here's a look at Roy Williams. Let's take a look at the new Dodge keys to the game. What are they, Chris Piper?
Well, Kansas is really going to try and put Texas A&M out of the game early. This Texas A&M team has lost 7 in a row, but the last 3 have been very tight. You want to put a team like this down quickly. Also, Texas A&M will be very methodical offensively. Kansas needs to make sure that they do something good on the offensive end.
Rafe LaFrentz wins the opening tip, and Kansas will go on offense first. Paul Pierce on the baseline. Short, LaFrentz with the tip in. So strong on the offensive glass.
Well, Kansas out-rebounded against UConn for the first time this year, but you see immediately attacking inside and going with the offensive rebound.
And Shane Jones, the small forward, taking steps, and already a turnover early on in this one.
Kansas's pressure on the perimeter causes Jones to pick up that pivot foot. Now, this is interesting for Texas A&M. They are mainly a man-to-man defensive team. They'll pressure all over the floor. They've already gone to a zone defense trying to pack it in and keep Kansas out of the inside.
UConn used the zone with a little bit of success in Hartford. Here's Haas from the corner, and he nails a 3. 5-0 Kansas.
Well, you can't attack offensively any better than that. Kansas red hot off the tip. Another reason they want to put Texas A&M down early, they've got a lot of guys that are banged up right now. Nothing major, but little bruises, and they've got a tough road coming up at Colorado this weekend and at Texas Tech.
Tracy Anderson running the show. Feeds it out top to Davis. Anderson into the corner. This is Gerald Brown, a freshman, misses from 3. Rebound Pollard.
Unusual miss for Brown. He's been red hot for Texas A&M.
Pierce on the wing. A little bit long, and underneath it's Pollard, though, and he lays it in. 7-0 Jayhawks, and they've come out with a fury here early on. benefit. It's Brad Stricker on his move to the baseline. It's knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Aggies.
Tell you what, Scott Pollard does a lot of things for you that you don't actually see in the stats book. You see Scott Pollard there at the middle of your screen setting that pick for Jared Haas, frees up Jared Haas for the wide open three-point shot. And I'll tell you what, Trey, Jared Haas, he's been called a streaky shooter, but when he gets his feet set, he's going to be able to make it.
Jayhawks out to the quick 7-0 lead. Already the Aggies go to the bench. Dario Quesada is into the game at the center spot for Brad Stricker. Brown over to Davis. His drive to the baseline. He's swatted by Pollard. And then a charge is called as Jared Haas had possession.
Great position by Jared Haas defensively. I'll tell you another thing that happens when you get a guy that comes in like Jared Haas and is able to make the offensive player stop, that allows your shot blocker to get in position. And even if Jared Haas wouldn't have drawn the charge, he would have done his job of making Scott Pollard, or giving Scott Pollard an opening for the block shot.
Haas playing full throttle on both ends of the court. He knows no other style. Here's Vaughn on a wing. Cross court to Pierce. Again, that zone from the Aggies. Vaughn in the corner. Thought about the three. Out high to Pierce. Haas will try from three-point land. In and out of there. Rebound, Shane Jones.
Just a simple 2-3 zone by Texas A&M, and Kansas, patient offensively, got the shot they wanted. The ball had gone inside, but Haas not able to get the ball that time.
Anderson out of Houston, Texas. The Jones. Vaughn got a hand on it, and a steal. Jock ahead to Haas. And he jams it. 9-0 Kansas. The defense setting up the offense. And this place going berserk.
They're fired up early. See the steal here by Jock Vaughn. Nice help. He comes over and is able to deflect the ball, and then always keeping his head up. Gets it to Jared Haas with a nice strong finish. But this Kansas crowd is really into it. They introduced Jock Vaughn as the all-time Big 8 assist leader. Got the crowd pumped up. They get a chance to see the #1 team in the country come home, and you see Kansas just on Texas A&M early.
Haas with 5 of KU's 9 points, 17:20 to go, and already threatening to blow this one open early. And that's what A&M didn't want. They wanted to hang with them a little while and establish a slow tempo. It's not working. And another steal. LaFrentz. He wanted to slam and lost the handle, but a foul is going to be called on A&M.
You're right about that. He wanted to slam. He was pulling it back in his left hand. He was going to cock it like he did against Texas, but Kansas's pressure defense out on the perimeter just too much for Texas A&M. They can't even bust the free throw line right now.
It looked like he took off from about 12 feet out that time.
I think he got a little excited. He was a little further than I think he expected to be.
Here's Rafe, the leading scorer, at 17.1 points per game, trying to give Kansas a double-digit lead here just almost 3 minutes into the contest, and he does it. 10-0 Kansas. Jayhawks have been improved on the line this year, Chris.
Kansas has shot phenomenal from the free throw line, 71% as a team. You look down the starters, Rafe LaFrentz at 78% from the free throw line. All of the guys are really hitting the ball, hitting the shot, especially Scott Pollard. And when your big guys are hitting the free throws, that's really going to up your percentage.
Now some full court pressure applied by the Jayhawks, an 11-0 lead. Quesada double teamed. It's it to Davis, ahead to the point guard Anderson. Into the corner, and there's going to be a foul call. This time a block called on Jared Haas. I don't think Coach Williams liked the call.
Well, one thing you've got to be used to when you're playing against Kansas is if you drive the lane, you have to have the ability to pull up, because Kansas is always going to be sliding over defensively to try and draw that charge. A nice job by Tracy Anderson that time of being under control and then kicking the ball outside to Brown.
The coach's son has just checked in for A&M, Brian Baroni. He comes in as the first guard off the bench, and he has the basketball. On the baseline, jumper up and in.
Tough shot by Gerald Brown, the freshman.
So Brown finally puts the Aggies on the board, but KU in a hurry. Pierce in and out from three. LaFrentz with the board, and he'll be fouled underneath. And that was Tracy Anderson trying to help out Gerald Brown down low. Brown and Anderson both there. LaFrentz so strong that on the offensive glass, he's almost wily the way he sneaks in there at times.
Well, he's 6'11" too, and he was able just to hold his hands above his head and go get that ball. Tracy Anderson on the foul, but
The big men for Texas A&M, when they're playing that 2-3 zone, those three bottom guys have to find a body and block out, because in a zone you're not really guarding anybody specifically, so it's really a tough job to pick up defensive assignments as far as picking somebody off the boards, and Texas A&M has not done a good job of that so far.
LaFrentz trying to cash in another free throw. He's now 4 for 4 from the line. 6 points for LaFrentz and a 13-2 Jayhawk lead. This time they fall off a little bit on the pressure. Barone, who's the highest assist maker in the Big 12 Conference for a freshman. Double team, pass down low, and there's an assist for him. He finds Dario Casada for 2.
Great patience by the freshman Barone to wait for the Kansas defense to slack off him a little bit, let his offensive players move, not get flustered and throw the ball inside.
Pierce feeds LaFrentz, and he knocks down the baseline jumper. 15-4 Kansas.
Rafe LaFrentz with 8 points in the first 6 minutes. I think Tony Barone's going to have to try and figure out a defense to keep the ball out of his hands.
Casada out high to Barone, guarded by Haas. Anderson drives in, kicks it out to Brown from three-point land, and he knocks it down. Brown with 32 three-pointers on the season.
Well, his last 3 games, he's been 11 for last 2 games, 11 for 14, 8 for 10 against Nebraska from behind the three-point line. This is a guy that's 6'8" and a freshman. He can shoot the long ball.
Aggies with the ball after the Kansas turnover. Anderson dumps it into Davis. His move to the basket, and he lays it in. And the Aggies now on a little bit of a tear. It's now 15-9.
Nice post up inside by Calvin Davis. He got Rafe LaFrentz on him, and I think LaFrentz is really winded at this time because he just hung on him like a wet sack and didn't try and get around him at all.
Pass over to Vaughn, again the zone. Vaughn from three-point land, and he knocks it home. 18-9. Vaughn has showed he can knock down the 3 again this season.
Yeah, but more importantly, though, Trey, offensively for Kansas, they're being patient against that zone. You're going to get a 3-point shot, and Kansas has taken a couple looks inside. If they don't get it, then they're taking a 3. It's a lot different if you come down and just jack up the first thing you see.
Jayhawks have 3 players ready to check in at the next break. Now Davis on his move to the hoop, took steps, and that's an A&M turnover. Rafe LaFrentz doing the job for Kansas. 8 points in the early going. They lead at 18-9 here in Lawrence. Hawks have a 9-point lead with just under 15 minutes to play here first half. It's time for our Kansas Lottery trivia question. Congratulations to Beverly Quigley of Topeka, who won $5,000 playing Powerball from the Kansas Lottery. Kansas Powerball, millions of winners, winners of millions. The first 7-foot player to lead a Final Four in scoring and win the conference high jump title in the same year. We'll have the answer later on. Let's take a look at A&M here.
Look at A&M's offense. They started high. Rafe LaFrentz gets stuck on the high side. No help because all the offensive players for Texas A&M are above the free throw line. So once the entry pass is there, nothing left.
Now back to action. Vaughn spots Pierce for an electric dunk on the baseline. And it's now an 11-point lead.
Oh, I have to try and let you take a look at it. I didn't even see that. I was so busy talking.
A&M sure didn't see it. Pierce got way up in the air for that one. Vaughn all over Barone. And a travel. Aggies turn it over.
Well, let's show you what happened here. TJ Pugh, B.J. Williams both picking out one on each side of the lane there, and opens up for Paul Pierce coming baseline. Kind of a different offensive set there. Kansas picked on both sides of the lane and let Paul Pierce come to the middle.
Williams, Pugh into the game, along with Billy Thomas, who was red hot in the game against UConn. 11 points in a hurry, and here's a 3 from Thomas. It's short, and it'll go out of bounds and to Texas A&M. Thomas at times can just take over games, and he scored 8 points in about 60 seconds at UConn.
Yeah, 2 threes and then a little pull-up jumper inside, a guy rushing at him on the three-point line. That's really, when you're a three-point shooter, if you've got a little pull-up jumper that you can use, it's a good weapon.
Tracy Anderson answers with a 3, and it's now 20-12.
Well, the Aggies settling down on offense a little bit, getting a chance.
Now we have an offensive foul. TJ Pugh is going to get whistled for the personal, and it'll go over to the Aggies.
See Billy Thomas way off inside trying to help out defensively for B.J. Williams. Opens up Tracy Anderson. Good recognition by the Texas A&M offense to throw it over the top. Little skip pass opens up a three-point shot.
Brian Barone, the freshman from College Station, double teamed by Pugh and Vaughn. He's in trouble. And they tie him up, and the possession arrow will stay with the Aggies.
Great run and jump trap right there. TJ Pugh comes up and does a nice job of turning Baroni back, not allowing him the sideline. And Jock Vaughn, instead of fouling, just gets his hand on the ball for the tie-up.
Brown, the trigger man, trying to find somebody. Finally gets it into Anderson, guarded by Billy Thomas. Anderson and Baroni, the backcourt. Two good ball handlers, and Baroni's going to be fouled by Pugh, and TJ's picked up two quick ones.
Well, see, the difference between that play and the play before where they got the tie-up was TJ Pugh was just too late and allowed the offense to get down the baseline. He's got to get his foot over there, get it on the baseline, and make the offensive player turn back to his other trapper.
Rafe LaFrentz in for Pugh. He'll sit. LaFrentz, the key man early on with 8 of the Jayhawks' 20 points. 20-12, Kansas. 13.5 minutes to play here first half.
Texas A&M being very efficient offensively. When they finally get a chance to shoot the ball, they're 5 for 6 from the floor.
Anderson in the corner. Again, double teamed. Trapped on that baseline and knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with A&M. Ryan Robertson will check in for the all-time Big 8 assist maker, Jock Vaughn. A&M again having trouble getting the ball in, and finally they hand it off to Anderson. He'll dribble out top, smothering defense again from Kansas. Anderson cross court to Shane Jones. It's swatted away. The Aggies fall back into the zone again.
One thing a zone defense is going to do for you also is going to slow the pace of the game down, and that's what Texas A&M wants to do.
LaFrentz knocks home the open jumper, though, from about 18 feet. He has 10. Again, the double team. Out high, Baroni. 22-12 Jayhawks. Baroni to the baseline against Robertson. Shot up, and it rolls in for Baroni. His first points of the game. It's 22-14.
Well, when Texas A&M has a shot at the goal, they're really making it count. 6 for 8 now. They're going to shoot a great percentage. Their problem is being able to get a shot at the goal.
Robertson spots Williams, and he's fouled on his move to the bucket. Inside, foul's going to be called on Larry Thompson, a 6'9" junior from Houston. And Williams will head to the stripe.
Well, you got to wonder, Trey, if this Aggie defense just isn't used to playing zone. Tony Baroni's style of play is a man-to-man swarming defense all over the floor. They're playing a zone defense against Kansas because Kansas obviously has them outmatched inside. Plus, with the zone defense, you can slow the tempo of the game down. But I tell you what, if you're not used to playing a zone, and if you don't work on it a lot and get used to your assignments, you can really stink it up in a hurry. And Kansas is having their day being patient offensively and getting about any shot they want.
Thomas and Pierce check out of the Kansas lineup. Here's a look at Tony Baroni, and there Paul Pierce and Billy Thomas. Williams trying to cash in 1 out of the 2. He misses both free throws. Still an 8-point Kansas lead as we near the 12-minute mark. This is a young Texas A&M team, 1 senior, 3 sophomores, and 3 freshmen. Davis out high to Anderson. Driving into the paint. Layup won't go. Rebound LaFrentz. Made him change his shot. Here's Haas. All the way to the bucket, and he lays it in. Haas doing it on the offensive end. 7 points. Baroni wants a timeout. 10-point Kansas lead.
Well, Texas A&M shows their inexperience on both ends of that those 2 possessions there, offensively and then defensively. Tracy Anderson takes it to the glass, probably a little quicker than Tony Baroni wanted, but he was all the way in, Trey, and he had a simple layup. I think he made it tougher than it looked because Rafe LaFrentz was actually late coming over for the block shot. And then defensively, they don't stop the man with the ball driving, and Jared Haas gets the easy layup. Let's take a look at this drive here. Calvin Davis drives baseline, and Rafe LaFrentz does a nice job of stopping him off. But now watch Tracy Anderson coming to the, I think he's surprised he's so open. Rafe LaFrentz actually was further away from them. It's hard to pick it up there, but he was further away. He really couldn't make a block shot. And then Ryan Baroni doesn't stop Jared Haas's penetration, which is the cardinal sin. You got to stop the man with the ball, and they get the easy layup.
Aggies after the 22nd timeout on offense. Pass into the lane to Thompson, and he's going to be fouled by Nick Bradford. Freshman just checking in, and he picks up his first personal. Again, both teams will go to the bench. Pollard in for Kansas. Gerald Brown will check in for the Aggies. Kansas in control here in the early going at Allen Fieldhouse. Defender Chris Piper and Lawrence, both teams shooting the ball well. Kansas has a 10-point lead. Tonight's Kansas game, a copyrighted telecast of Creative Sports Incorporated. Any use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this broadcast without the express prior written consent of Creative Sports is prohibited. Rafe LaFrentz doing the job. Chris Piper, he's been solid in about every area.
Well, he doesn't miss when he gets it in that close, shooting a tremendous percentage from the field, 58% on the year. He looked 10 points and 3 rebounds already here in the first 8 minutes of the game. So Texas A&M has got to find a way to keep the ball out of his hands. You can't score if the ball's not in your hands.
They're having a tough time getting the ball in bounds, and that's 5 seconds. Kansas forces the turnover. Well, even the simple things tough to do for the Aggies. Bradford, Robertson, Pollard, Hass, and LaFrentz on the court for KU. Bradford on the baseline. Thought about the three. Now he'll drive. Kicks it off to Pollard. Bradford's open for a three. Off the back iron. LaFrentz with another rebound. Back up. Rolls off. And the Aggies have a board. Larry Thompson pulls it down.
A great ball movement by Kansas to get the wide open shot, but give Texas A&M credit for sticking in there. 2 offensive rebounds by Kansas, but yet they get the ball back.
Thompson tries to feed to Davis. Knocked out of bounds by LaFrentz. It'll stay with the Aggies. Jock Vaughn back into the Kansas lineup. He'll replace Ryan Robertson. And A&M will bring in Dario Quesada to replace Larry Thompson. Vaughn looks like that knee not bothering him too much. There was a scare there for a while when he hurt it in practice on Friday.
Yeah, he's had enough bruises and aches and pains that he's ready to stay on the floor. I think he's going to have to be really hurt before you don't see him out there.
Quesada over to Baroni, seeing a lot of action here in the first half. Brown, a long three, and he hits it. Brown with unlimited range, it seems, and he's one of the top freshmen in the Big 12.
Well, at 6'8", you usually have a forward guarding him, and you don't expect him to pull up from that distance, but Gerald Brown definitely has some range, and you got to find him.
And the Aggies playing with a little bit of emotion here. They've cut the lead to 7.
Well, other than those first 5 minutes of the game, Texas A&M's been hanging even with Kansas, and the way they're doing it is they're hitting every shot they throw up.
Vaughn off on the wing to Bradford. Nick drives into the paint. Hass on his move took steps before he made the move, and another Kansas turnover. 24-17 Jayhawks. 10:28 to play here first half. Jayhawks trying to move to 19-0 and stay unbeaten in the Big 12 and stay tied with Colorado in the loss column. Here's Jones on his move. He goes up, lays it in with the left hand, and he draws the foul. Shane Jones with a good move.
Watch Texas A&M swinging the ball. Shane Jones just takes Nick Anderson right from the top, something that Kansas does not like to see, and no help coming over to stop that. You just can't have a guy drive from the top of the lane. Nick Bradford with the freshman mistake coming out a little too fast on him, out of control, not able to slide over and stop the penetration. But the Aggies got over that shell shock from the first part of in the first 5 minutes of this game, and giving Kansas something to think about.
3-point play slices the lead to 4. They're very active in that zone. LaFrentz, and on his move, he traveled, they say, on the baseline. Fans wanted a foul, but it's another Kansas turnover. Paul Pierce will check in. He'll replace Nick Bradford.
Well, the difference, Trey, is Texas A&M is being much more physical inside, putting a body on the Kansas players, not allowing them to go to the spots they want to. And Dario Quesada just sits there and makes Rafe LaFrentz make the mistake.
Brown guarded tightly by Hass. Out high. Over to Baroni. Backdoor feed. And in and out. The shot won't go from Davis. Rebound LaFrentz. Tries to outlet it. Hass has it. And on his move, he's going to be fouled by Baroni, who got back in a hurry but didn't get the feet set.
I'll tell you, a game within this game is watching Tony Baroni on the other sidelines. I'd hate to. Brian Baroni is going to come out and get to talk to his dad about this. But watch Jared Haas taking it. And instead of just standing his ground, Brian Baroni tries to come around from the right side and knock the ball out of his hands. And that is a no-no. Actually, he's going to stay in the game.
Yes, he will, along with Tracy Anderson. 2 point guards are in there. Haas knocks down the free throw, and it's back to a 5-point Kansas lead. Haas pretty solid at the stripe, 72%. A little bit under his average last year, but he knocks down both here. It's a 26-20 Jayhawk lead, and here comes the full court pressure.
So the 1-2-2 press by Kansas want to trap the initial pass, force Texas A&M to the sideline.
Posada almost traveled to Jones, over to Baroni on the right wing. The freshman playing like an upperclassman. Solid ball handler. And now a foul away from the ball. It's going to be called on Tracy Anderson, the point guard, down near the basket.
Tracy Anderson trying to set a pick on Rafe LaFrance underneath the basket. Gets called for moving on the pick, not allowing Rafe LaFrance to come through. But Brian Baroni for Texas A&M has done a nice job of settling down this Aggie offense, giving them a chance to get the ball inside or get a shot to the basket.
Anderson with his second personal. He'll take a seat. Gerald Brown back in there. They have Brown and Baroni now in the backcourt. 9 minutes to play first half. A 6-point Jayhawk lead. Pass in the corner. Feeds it to Pollard, and he's fouled. Shot wouldn't go. Nice look, though, from Haas as he spotted the 6'11 senior underneath.
Well, that's what you got to do against the zone defense is get the ball inside, let them soften up a little bit. Kansas has been getting away with some three-point shots outside, but you see Scott Pollard being patient underneath, waiting for the defense to come to him and then taking it strong to the glass. But the nice thing about Scott Pollard's game this year is when he does get to the free throw line and he's leading Kansas in attempts from the free throw line, is he's able to put it in. And now, of course, I've jinxed him. But
he'll have one more coming. Jayhawks, by the way, in the bonus now. That was the 7th team foul on Texas A&M. Pollard, a 74% foul shooter on the year. He gets 1 out of 2, and it's a 27-20 Jayhawks lead. Brian Baroni getting the majority of the minutes here at the point guard spot. Feeds it on the baseline to Shane Jones, and the foul's going to be on the floor. It'll be whistled on Jock Vaughn. That's his first. DJ Williams, Billy Thomas back in for Kansas. Roy continues to go to his bench, and the bench has really been productive lately, especially Billy Thomas. Haas will get a break.
Well, actually, it's surprising, Trey, against UConn. Most of the starters, when you look down the list, all played 30 minutes or more. Billy Thomas, I think, played 11 minutes in the game. But other than that, Kansas really only used 8 guys in that game, which is very unusual for them.
It's nice when you can get 11 points in 11 minutes from Thomas. Here's a shot from Jones. It won't go. Pollard rips away the rebound. Vaughn to Pierce. Missed the dunk. Tries to get his own board. He lost it out of bounds. It'll go to A&M. That would have brought the house down right there. That one to Paul Pierce.
And they need to get him going because this Kansas crowd has not been in the game here other than the first 5 minutes. Texas A&M's offense is keeping Kansas's crowd out of it. And you see the pass just a little bit out of range for Paul Pierce to be able to make something happen with it.
Jayhawks with a 7-point lead. Aggies trying to stay close before the halftime break. 8:15 to play first half, and now Quesada takes steps. He was pressured by Scott Pollard.
Well, give that turnover to Roy Williams. Roy Williams telling Scott Pollard to get all over Quesada because they knew he couldn't handle the ball. Scott Pollard got up in his face and made him put it down and forced the turnover.
Pierce, Vaughn, B.J. Williams. Here's Pierce from the corner. Shots long, tipped out in front. Baroni tracks it down. Ahead to Jones. It's knocked away. Vaughn got a hand on it. And here come the Jayhawks. Pierce to Thomas. He drills it. First points for Thomas. 9-point lead for the Hawks.
Kansas just wants to get out. And like a horse, you're holding them back. Kansas wants to get out and run. They want to run. They want to run. And then all of a sudden, Texas A&M comes down here, spreads the floor out, makes them wait.
Similar to what Texas did early on this year, and another turnover forced by the Hawks. Timeout on the floor. 7:25 to go first half. Just with the 29-20 lead. Tonight's game is brought to you by the new Dodge. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you. Both teams shooting the ball pretty well, over 50%. There's a look at the numbers.
Texas A&M at 57%. The only problem is they've got 11 turnovers, so they haven't had that many attempts at the goal. But still, when they have, they've been able to get it to fall.
That's surprising for the Aggies, shooting just 42% on the season. Again, that A&M zone defense, and the Jayhawks very patient. TJ Pugh, Williams, Pierce, Thomas, and Vaughn on the floor.
See if Kansas can get Billy Thomas open.
There he is for three. Thomas with a two-pointer and a three-pointer. 5 points. And the Jayhawks have extended now to a 12-point lead.
You can't play zone against Kansas when Billy Thomas is in the game without knowing where he's at.
Alvin Davis with a spin move. Lost the handle. Rebound on the other side, though. Shane Jones puts it in.
Two nice blocks by B.J. Williams so far in the game, but Shane Jones gets to the far side of the glass and nobody picks him up.
On to Thomas. Here's another three on the way. Just off the mark that time. Rebound pulled down by Jones. Baroni to Davis. 18-footer partially blocked by Williams. Saved underneath by Anderson, but he stepped on the end line. A&M turnover.
B.J. Williams going for a shot block record here tonight. I think 3 already here in the first half.
13 blocks coming in for B.J. Williams. That Jayhawk defense really the story throughout the year, forcing the turnovers, and easy buckets usually coming as a result.
Well, they had 8 turnovers, I think, in the first 5 minutes.
Hugh lost the handle. He gets it back, though. Pierce slices in. Out of passing, moving the ball well. No one taking the shot. Here's Pierce. Short jumper off the mark. Rebound Davis.
Well, no inside presence by Kansas that time. All the guys were out on the floor when Paul Pierce shot that shot. Nothing but maroon jerseys underneath the basket.
Davis guarded by Williams. High Anderson. Davis makes the move on Williams, the leaner. That was partially blocked, but there's going to be a foul called on B.J. Williams.
Watch B.J. Williams down, trying to harass Calvin Davis up at the top, getting a little help from the crowd, but B.J. Williams out of position. The crowd riding Calvin Davis right now for that air ball he shot, which actually wasn't an air ball, it was a block shot. But unfortunately for Calvin Davis, the student section didn't see that, so he's going to have to listen to that the rest of the game.
Williams will take the seat. Wholesale substitutions for the Jayhawks. Vaughn and Robertson now are in the game, along with Pass, LaFrentz, and Pollard. The 3-guard lineup, and that's worked effectively at times.
Yeah, it's a good lineup for Kansas, especially against this Texas A&M lineup that they've got out there. A lot of small guys on the floor that can shoot the ball. Gerald Brown actually plays on the perimeter, even though he's 6'8", so it's a good lineup for Kansas, especially against the zone defense.
Alvin Davis, sophomore, misses the second free throw, and it's a 32-23 Kansas lead.
You can afford to have 3 guards on the floor when you got 6'10" and 6'11", and the French and Pollard inside as well.
How many teams have that? Good look, Vaughn underneath pass. Knocked free. Anderson going for it, runs through the bench, knocks a seat over and into the seats, and hopefully he's okay because he went full throttle toward the sidelines there, and Anderson getting up slowly now, and he's hobbling a bit. Great effort from Tracy Anderson, and the crowd responded.
Watch him going, he's thinking about it, and then at the last second he decides he's not going to do it, but looks like his foot might have slipped on some fluids on the floor there, and he wasn't able to stop himself.
Tony Baroni playing catch with some of the KU fans. I think he appreciated their applause on Anderson's effort.
He's a character, I tell you what. The guy has fun. He goes at it just as hard as his players do.
He's known to shed the coat and the tie. He still has the tie on, so we'll have to watch to see how long that stays on. Here's Thompson on a drive. LaFrentz with the swat. Brown for 3. Won't go. Vaughn has the board. To Hass. It's blocked. Collision underneath. And the foul's going to be called on Jared. Nope, it's going to be Scott Pollard. Hass and Pollard both down somewhere on that exchange.
That's just great shot block by Rafe LaPrince on the drive. He goes up and throws that out of there. Jacques Vaughn with a nice pass here to Jared Haas, leads him to the basket, but good defense by Texas A&M running back as hard as Kansas running down. So Texas A&M doing a good job of getting back against that Kansas transition. The crowd not happy with the call, but a lot of bodies falling, and Scott Pollard still standing. Leaves the official to think that he's the culprit.
Larry Thompson with the 1-and-1. One more coming. 32-24 Jayhawks. That was the 8th team foul on Kansas. Both teams now are in the bonus. Thompson out of Houston by way of Paris, Texas Junior College. This is one out of the 2. 8-point Kansas lead. 4:40 to play first half. Robertson, who's been quiet here in the first half.
Texas A&M spreading that defense out on the floor to try and pick up the Kansas shooters. Should open up the inside.
LaFrentz from 18 feet out. And Rafe has 12 to lead the Jayhawks. Davis guarded closely by Pollard. A little jump step move into the hands of Vaughn. Ahead to Haas. Lost the handle. Now he'll pull up from 10 feet and he drains it.
He was determined to get something out of that, wasn't he, Trey? He couldn't get the layup, so what the heck? We'll pull back and shoot a jumper.
Not pretty at times, but Haas delivers, and now the crowd making a lot of noise. Steal for Haas. He's fouled, count it, and a free throw coming.
Well, Jared Haas can make things happen. He shoots the gap there, throws the ball up the floor, and able to get it to finish. Gerald Brown just kind of gets in the way and gets a foul called against him. But this last play here that we're looking at, that's an amazing one. He was going to get something to happen no matter what. He couldn't get the layup. He pulls it back and shoots the jumper, but
you see the blood and guts of this team, I'll tell you. He does it in so many ways. This is the free throw.
He's active. There's no doubt about it.
Robertson gets the board, though. KU still with possession. Robertson for 3. Tipped underneath, out of bounds. Who's got it? Kansas keeps it. Jayhawks playing with emotion here as we near halftime. They lead it by 14 at Allen. Travel with the Jayhawks. See store displays for more details. Look at this. The Wildcats and Ames leading Iowa State, and Texas leading the Sooners. Some of the scores around the Big 12. Jacques Vaughn doing his best Curly Neal imitation there, dribbling the ball all over the place. And Roy Williams not happy. They turn it over.
Well, Jacques Vaughn not happy about that. I don't know what the call was either. He was always had his hand on top of the ball. The official says he got his hand under the ball. But no matter.
Aggies attacking. Jones and Vaughn go at it, and a tie-up. A little heated exchange between Vaughn and Jones down there. Jack, I think he's not happy about the earlier call on the turnover. I didn't see him turn the ball over at all.
I didn't see it either, Trey, and I didn't see that little exchange between him and Jones, but both teams going at it now. Only the second time these two teams have ever met. The first time was actually up in Manhattan, Kansas. The Sunflower doubleheader that they played. Familiar, I can speak, name to Kansas fans. JoJo White had a big game there. So this is a budding rivalry, if anything.
Kansas has had so much success against the former Southwest Conference schools through the years. Vaughn misses from long range. Underneath, the foul's going to be called on Scott Pollard. Some physical play underneath. Both these teams going at it a little bit. And A&M will be shooting free throws on the other end.
Well, sure as anything, you see a little shoving and pushing going on. The players start woofing at each other, and all of a sudden the whistles are going to be a lot quicker. And the official's going to try and get this game under control. Scott Pollard with his third foul, a foul that Kansas definitely doesn't like to see with only 2 minutes plus left in the game. So struck Vaughn with probably a frustration shot that last time down with that three-pointer coming off the pick.
Alvin Davis with a 1-on-1. He misses. Rebound, LaFrentz underneath. Aggies shooting only 61% from the stripe during the year, and they can't afford to miss any, especially at Allen Fieldhouse. Robertson thought about the three, feeds it to Pierce instead, and on his drive, he'll be fouled. Reaching in that time, Brad Stricker picks up the personal. That'll be team foul number 9. One more, and Kansas will be shooting 2 foul shots. They'll get the 1-on-1 here. Paul Pierce, just 2 points on the evening. And he has one more free throw coming. Pierce averaging 15 points per game. He's been solid from three-point land as well. And to look at that game against UConn.
Paul Pierce, another guy with a little bit of an ailment against UConn. He got the thigh bruise in that game. Stiffened up on him afterwards, but Kansas got a few players that are banged up. Nothing that's going to keep him out of the game, but just aggravating injuries.
Baroni short on the shot off the glass. Here's Robertson all the way to the basket. He lays it in. They gave him the lane, and he took it for the 2.
Well, Texas A&M inexperienced there. First man back picks up a guy on the wing. Nobody thinks about going and getting Ryan Robertson and stopping the ball.
Now the trap. A&M spots Brown for 3. That's long. Rebound, though, Davis, and he lays it in. 16-point Kansas lead. Pierce all the way. It's knocked loose. And here come the Aggies. This is more Kansas style. I'm sure they're enjoying the play right now with the 16-point lead. Baroni to Jones, guarded by Robertson. Over to Davis. Tries to split Pierce and Williams. He does, and he lays it in. They thought, a lot of the fans thought that was a travel. They carried it.
That wasn't travel. That was a triple jump step there. Jump, skip, hop, 2 jumps.
It'll go into the books as 2 points.
Sure.
42-28 Kansas. LaFrentz will try from the baseline. That's short. Rebound Brown. Aggies have done a decent job on the glass. That wasn't expected coming in.
Well, they picked it up. They were like a sieve early in the first half here. Actually, the first 5 minutes, but now they really, actually, they've taken the rebound lead 18-16 over Kansas. So
Gerald Brown converting. He now has 10 points, and we have 30 seconds to go here in the first half. A 12-point Kansas lead, and they'll hold for 1.
Well, it sure doesn't feel like a 12-point Kansas lead, though, does it? Texas A&M's really taking the air out of the ball, and Kansas hadn't been able to get on any runs.
Vaughn tries to feed Pierce again. That's the 3rd time they tried it, this time over his head, and a turnover, and the Aggies will hold for 1 here before we break for halftime. Strange game in a lot of ways. The Aggies kept it close early on. Kansas spurting like they normally do, but A&M can cut it down to 10 here before the break. Baroni leans in, shot off the side. He gets his own board, though, and the buzzer before the shot by Baroni. We've reached halftime. Kansas, the #1 team in America, up by 12 over the Aggies in Big 12 play. We're back with halftime after this.
Welcome you to halftime. We also welcome 2 distinguished guests to our Allen Fieldhouse floor. Their names are Ken Seipel. He's from Super Target. To my left, your screen right, is Amy Perko. She's the Associate Athletic Director here at Kansas. She's also the Senior Women's Administrator. We've talked about streaks with Kansas, but there's a streak of their own, and it has to do with attendance. Talk about Fill the Fieldhouse 4. What is it?
Fill the Fieldhouse is a women's basketball game we've got Saturday night, Saturday afternoon at 2:30. And several years ago, we set the Big 8 attendance record of 13,000, so we're trying to fill the Fieldhouse this Saturday at 2:30 to set the new Big 12 conference record.
Becca, attendance was 13,000 people. That's a lot of people for a women's game. Talk about how to get tickets. How does one go about doing that?
Well, we really appreciate Super Target's got a sponsorship with us, and so you can go to Super Target, buy a ticket for $1. Or you can call our ticket office, 1-800-34-HAWKS.
Now, what does the attendance mean to the University of Kansas women's basketball? When you get 13,000 in the Fieldhouse, what's that mean to KU's women's team?
Well, to the women's team, obviously, it's going to Texas, a tough place to play. They had 8,000 at their place last week, made it hard on us. So anytime you can get fan support, that's going to help the team. It also helps carry over into things like bidding for hosting a regional, because NCAA looks at your average attendance.
And we're going to turn our attentions to Ken, who's right to us. Ken, talk about Super Target's involvement in it. Why women's basketball? Why Super Target?
Well, one of the things that Target has is a corporate mission to give about 5% of our pre-tax profits back to the community. We spoke to the university, and they talked a little bit about some of their goals of getting women's sports built in the NCAA level. We found it to be a great match. We talked a little bit with Coach Washington, and she's very civic-minded. Many of her goals and our goals matched up quite well, so we found it to be a great match.
In fact, Marion Washington is going to make a store appearance. Talk about that.
Yes, in fact, she was out last Sunday, and she was in for a couple hours doing autographs, and we had a wonderful turnout. She was signing and giving away posters to the kids and some tickets, and it was a great time.
It's going to be a good time. Fill the Fieldhouse 4, trying to get 13,000, trying to set an attendance record. There you see it. Fill the Fieldhouse 4. Kansas takes on Colorado. That's Saturday, January 25th. 2:30 p.m. is tip-off. Call 1-800-34-HAWKS or stop by Super Target. Tickets are $1. Kansas leading Texas A&M 42-30. More to come after this. 42-30. Let's take a look at the Shelter Insurance first half highlights. Kansas defense. You underline it. Kansas, the Jayhawks with the half-court pressure and the full-court pressure throughout the first half. And watch the help. Jacques Vaughn gets 1, 2, 3 help. And then off the board, the rebound. Rafe LaFrance, the fourth person in this picture, comes in, takes the rebound. And Kansas starts the fast break the other way. Now watch the Jayhawks. They have numbers. 2-on-1. Ryan Robertson right down the paint. He'll lay it in off the glass. And that's how Kansas, starting off in an 11-0 lead. The lead down to 4, then back to 12. For your life, home, car, farm, or business, Shelter Insurance will always be there for you. The Jayhawks facing Texas A&M for the first time in 30 years. Kansas has won 8 straight against teams from the Lone Star State. Tonight's Kansas game is brought to you in part by Pizza Hut, making it great again and again. The Delta Dental Plan of Kansas, the leader in dental benefits. The new Dodge, see the friendly Dodge dealer near you. The Kansas Lottery. Somebody's always winning the Kansas Lottery. Southwestern Bell. Count on Southwestern Bell for the communication services you'll use every day. Yes, it's that simple. UMB Bank, with more than 30 locations across Kansas to serve you. UMB Bank, America's strongest banks. Harrah's North Kansas City Casino and Hotel. When you're looking for twice the fun and excitement, it's the only place to go. Harrah's, a great time every time. Sprint, the official telecommunications provider to Kansas University basketball. Brewer Refreshed Bud Light reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. And by
Piper, Mark Ewing here at Allen Fieldhouse. Jared Haas, Rafe LaFrance with 25 of the 42 points. And this Kansas team trying to get off to their best start under Roy Williams since the 89-90 season. And that year, they went 30-5. Kansas doing the job. What do they need to do differently in the second half, Chris?
Well, you know, now that I don't have any distractions, Trey, I might be able to speak to you clearly. But obviously, Kansas needs to get the ball inside. 3 for 11 behind the three-point line. Scott Pollard with only 1 field goal attempt in the first half, which he made. You want to get the ball inside to him and LaFrance. Let them go to work, get that zone defense to collapse around them, and then they'll have that three-point line open up.
Aggies have the basketball to start the second half against that tough man-to-man from the Jayhawks. Quesada back door to Anderson. He misses the lay-in, and the rebound out front to Jacques Vaughn.
Well, the tie came off after that when Tony Baroni drew up the perfect play, executed it perfectly, and then missed the easy layup.
LaFrance from about 18. Let's hope the shirt doesn't come off the head coach. Baroni. LaFrance showing he can knock down that long-distance jumper. He's been effective from 18 feet and in.
Well, that's an open shot. Rafe LaFrance can hit it, and if it's going to be open, he might as well take it.
Davis misses. Pierce with the rebound. And he'll set it up to Jacques Vaughn. Again, the zone. The Aggies will be interesting to see how long they stick with it as the half wears on. Pass on the baseline. Double team. Out to Vaughn. Pierce from about 18 feet, and he cans it. 46-30 Jayhawks.
Well, it looks like Kansas has talked about it at halftime that elbow jumper is wide open. That zone defense collapsing on the baseline to try and guard the big guys and stretching on the perimeter to get the three-point shooters. Opens up the middle.
Quesada getting the start here in the second half. for Brad Stricker on the drive to the basket. Davis, and there's going to be a foul called underneath. Here's a look at Tony Barone.
That tie came off in a heap. I don't think it's usable. He ripped it off. I think he went right through the knot. He didn't even untie it, just ripped the darn thing off.
Well, he said that he's going to have patience with this program. He's been a patient guy through the years. This club's got to get better, though. They're so young that you'd think they'll be better in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, they've got a great team. A lot of young players as far as Calvin Davis, a sophomore, Gerald Brown, the freshman. Really, Gerald Brown probably in the lead as far as the Big 12 freshman of the year.
Some people have even compared him to Scottie Pippen. I think they're going a little bit too far there. Davis misses both free throws. And the Aggies shut out here in the first minute and a half. Pass guarded by Anderson, out high to Pollard. They're really packing in the zone. Vaughn to the free throw line.
Pass with 13 points in his first half, matches his average for each game, and there he misses the three, but
follows his shot though over to Pierce, and he's going to be fouled on his drive into the paint. And Scott Pollard is down underneath the basket and getting up slowly, a little gingerly, I'm sure, on that ankle. Still hoping that'll heal. Let's see what happened here.
Let's take a look. Roy Williams came on the floor immediately. Looks like he got an elbow in the face from Quesada.
So it wasn't an ankle, and I guess that's good news. Pollard will now take a seat, and B.J. Williams into the lineup.
Yeah, what the heck? Hit him in the face. That's better than the ankle, huh? Scott Pollard's not thinking so right now.
So Paul Pierce at the line for 2 shots. Kansas with the first 4 points here in the second half. Pierce now with 7 points on the ball game. Pierce averaging 15 points on the season. And both free throws go down, and it's 48-30 Jayhawks. Threatening to blow this one open here early in the second half.
Kansas really extending the defense out like they did in the first 5 minutes of the game. And Texas A&M having a hard time of getting the ball lower than the free throw line. They finally do, see if they can make something happen.
Jones leans in, an air ball. LaFrentz goes up and gets it. Loses a handle, but saves it on the baseline. And that wasn't pretty, but LaFrentz finally gets it into the hands of Jack Vaughn.
Brought a smile from the Kansas coaching staff. Rafe LaFrentz just couldn't pick up the ball, but they got it back.
Williams and Pierce playing catch. Pierce knifes in. Pass from about 20, and he knocks it home. Haas showing he has a perimeter shot tonight.
Smart play by Jared Haas. He was patient with it. He was looking to pass the ball, and nobody came out and guarded him. So why not shoot the jumper? You got to make them pay it. And KU on an 8-0 run here in the first 2 minutes.
The Aggies struggling early, 50-30. Jayhawks on stages of the second half. Scott Pollard getting a breather after he was hit in the chops, and I don't mean those things, the sideburns, I mean the mouth area.
Yeah, we're not talking about the mutton chops, we're talking about the lips, huh?
Kansas with another patented run, an 8-0 start here in the second half, and they've been doing that all year long.
Well, they get you down, and they just keep on attacking. If you don't regroup from it immediately, all of a sudden you're going to look up and you're on the downside of a 10-point swing.
Shane Jones with the lay-in. He has 7 points now. The Aggies finally break the long drought. Here's LaFrentz fighting for it underneath. A collision. Williams colliding with LaFrentz underneath, and Texas A&M comes out of there with a basketball. Everybody's okay.
Well, tough pass by Paul Pierce. Really put himself in a position he had nowhere to go, and Rafe LaFrentz made a good try at getting it, and there Kansas is going to draw the offensive foul on the baseline and a technical.
Jared Haas draws the charge, and then Barone doesn't like the call. He thought Haas didn't get there to cut off Calvin Davis and the tee. And he doesn't have a tie or a coat to throw now. And on the other end, LaFrentz will go to the strike.
Let's take a look at the drive on the baseline here. Jared Haas with obvious position there draws the foul. Good call, but Tony Barone does not like it at all. And If you're an Iowa State fan, you might recall the same thing happening to Tim Floyd at Colorado, where he got ejected. He didn't like the charging call either, and argued it adamantly, and ended up watching that game from the locker room. And Tony Barone now got to be careful. There's 16 minutes left that he doesn't end up watching this game back at the hotel.
Barone grew up in Chicago in the shadows of Wrigley Field. Not happy on that last exchange, but Vaughn spots Pierce again underneath. That play, they've gone to quite a bit. This time Pierce cashes in, chance to get the three-point play, and Kansas breaking this thing open. 54-32 now.
Well, they're trying to make sure they perfect that play, aren't they? Get that high pick in the middle. B.J. Williams, Ray Flafrance on the baseline as well, but you bring the ball to the opposite side like Jacques Vaughn does. You see the whole zone defense for Texas A&M, except for one guy is shifted to the far side. It's Ray Flafrance's job to pick up that guy that's watching Paul Pierce and run Paul Pierce to the basket, throw it up, let him go get it.
Pierce now with 11 points. Scott Pollard checking in for Ray Flafrance on that last break. And Kansas now with a 23-point lead, their largest, as we near the 16-minute mark. Pierce with a steal. Ahead to Haas. Behind the back to Pollard, and he's fouled by Gerald Brown. They love it here in Lawrence.
Well, they're having fun now. Roy Williams talking with his staff. Paul Pierce actually got fouled when he tried to throw that ball up the floor, but Jared Haas trying to think he's Jacques Vaughn there, I think, with a little behind the back scoop. You know, it's nice to have these big guys running on the floor. Scott Pollard and Ray Flafrance has such great hands that you can throw them a pass like this, and Scott Pollard able to catch it. A lot of big guys, it's going to bounce off their hands like you're throwing it to bricks, but Scott Pollard and Ray Flafrance do an excellent job of going out and grabbing the ball.
1 out of 2 for Pollard. Quesada with the board, and Jayhawks having fun on the bench. A 56-32 lead. 16 minutes to play here at Allen Fieldhouse. And a lot of pressure defense again from Jack Vaughn and company. Quesada is going to drive baseline on Williams, and a block call on B.J. Williams.
Good call as well there. B.J. Williams not in position late on the baseline. Quesada just goes right through him. Tony Barone a little happier with that call, but let's take a look. B.J. Williams trying to guard the post, and he's just too late. He actually advances toward Quesada instead of backing up by advance, and he takes the time away that he needed to cut off the baseline. He should have retreated to the basket and picked a spot.
Now a feed inside to Jones. He gets the bucket and a chance for the three-point play as A&M scores off the inbound. That foul's going to be called on B.J. Williams, his third personal, and that was Calvin Davis that completed the basket and the chance for the three-point play. Tonight's game brought to you by the new Dodge. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Calvin Davis at the line. He's last 5 games he's averaged over 13 points, shooting 60% from the field. He's a guy that can put some points up. Tonight 1 for 5 on the season, 67%, but he had 14 points, 10 rebounds against Texas. A young sophomore. Tony Barone's got a lot of talent on his team. It's going to take a while to bring them together, though. Davis,
a versatile player, leading him in block shots and most consistent front court player. 56-34 Kansas with 15:40 to play here in the ball game.
Now the question is when's Texas A&M going to come out of this zone defense? They're really definitely not going to be able to get back in the game playing a 2-3 zone. Maybe Barone's going to try and wait until the 10-minute mark or somewhere along the line. They're going to have to go out and start attacking Kansas and try and make things happen. But the bad side of that is as soon as you start doing that, that score could balloon up to 40 points. So
it's happened to a lot of teams. Tracy Anderson back in for the Aggies, replacing Shane Jones.
This isn't a position where you want to be in, so maybe Barone's thinking about the future for Texas A&M, wanting them to stay close, not totally destroy their confidence.
Anderson with a steal, and he goes coast to coast and lays it in. 20-point Kansas lead, but Vaughn on the other end feeds it to Williams. BJ can't get the basket, but he's fouled. And the foul's going to be called on Calvin Davis.
Boy, that pass was nasty. He was just dribbling that. Instead of picking it up, he just kind of picked it up on the dribble with one hand, popped it up to the goal. Let's watch him. Look at that. Just throws it up, lets B.J. Williams get it. He can pass from about any position Jacques Vaughn can, and that's what makes him the all-time Big 8 assist leader. And he took the place of a good friend and an ex-teammate of mine, Cedric Hunter. And I'll tell you what, That's no slouch of a player there himself. Cedric Hunter was a great athlete, played with some great players. You got to have good players around you that can score the ball, because you can be the greatest passer in the world. You've got a guy that can't score, you're not going to get an assist.
Williams misses both free throws, but Haas and Baroni, there's a tie-up, and the possession arrow will stay with the Jayhawks. This Kansas team, many have compared to that 85-86 team, and they have some similarities. How would you compare them? I guess it's maybe too early to tell. See what they do in the postseason.
Yeah, I don't think you can compare them, to be honest with you. You're talking about two different eras. Didn't have the three-point line in 85-86, but this team is about as talented as a team as you've seen come through here. They've got the great point guards. They've got the great big men, swing forward who can score, and a bench. So they've got it all, no doubt about it.
20-point Kansas lead, under 15 minutes to play. Davis hounded by Williams, goes back door, stolen by Pollard. Ahead to Jock, into the hands of Haas. Thought about the shot. Now he'll pull up from 18, and he hits it.
Oh, Jared Haas has got it figured out. He just holds the ball in his hand for a little bit, and everybody will fall off for him to go pick up somebody else, and opens himself up for the jumper. 17. Haas leading all Kansas scorers, and the Jayhawks about to go to their bench here at the next break. Stricker lost the handle. He turns it over. Watch this play. Actually, Texas A&M has the back door, but the defense on the ball by B.J. Williams causes deflection. You got good defense on the ball. It's going to be tough to stand there and make the pass. And then on the other end, you see Texas A&M does the cardinal sin. They leave the shooter. Nobody guards him. Scott Pollard there gets to take a seat and watch a little bit more of the action. He played 35 minutes against UConn.
Only scored 4 points.
On a sore ankle.
Yeah, he had 9 boards, though, on that bad ankle. Vaughn with the bank shot wouldn't go. Pierce's tip in and out of there, and it'll stay with Kansas. Jayhawks in front, 58-36 with 14:04 to play. And look at this from Ames. K-State and the Cyclones in a battle. And Oklahoma's leading Texas.
Well, you got to wonder, will it be back from that hamstring pull yet? Because if not,
I don't think he was going to play tonight, and that really does hamper them.
Who would have thought that Iowa State would be 2-2 and Colorado would be undefeated in the Big 12 at this point?
Hard to believe. There's some blood on the A&M bench, and they're attending to that.
Looks like Gerald Brown. No, it's not. Actually, it's Larry Thompson.
We'll stop play here momentarily. This A&M team has lost some heartbreakers. They've lost 7 in a row, but 3 of their games in the final few seconds of the game, including the loss to Texas. So they've been competitive. They've struggled, though, 6-8 on the year.
Well, they had a chance against Baylor in the last few seconds, got the loose ball and called a timeout when they didn't have any. So Baylor goes to the line, shoots the technicals, and ends up winning by 3. Against Nebraska, again, they've got a chance in the last few seconds. Not able to get the ball to go down. And then against Texas, they have the ball left with 10 seconds left to go. Brian Baroni's got the ball on the baseline, scores tied. Calvin Davis, or actually I think it was Quesada, cuts to the basket, or no, it was Davis, and slips and falls. So this Texas A&M team has lost some heartbreakers. Tony Baroni knows that they're going to turn it around. He just doesn't know when.
Let's see what happened here where the collision occurred and they cleaned up the blood off the floor.
See Paul Pierce going to jump back up and catches Larry Thompson with an elbow, and that's not a good thing, especially when you hit him right in the nose and starts that gusher.
That's one way to get a migraine as well, and he's trying to shake it off on the bench. Kansas up by 22 with 13:58 to play in this one, and Roy Williams' troops starting to pull away in this one. Look at some of the starts in Kansas' rich basketball tradition. The 35-36 team, of course, under Fog Allen. And I wasn't around in the 1908 season, but that's been quite a year as well.
Max Falkenstein's on the other side. We can go ask him. I'm sure he was probably calling the game.
Well, Max has some great stories. This Kansas team about to go 19-0 unless A&M has a miracle in their back pocket.
Better be a pretty big miracle. 38 games Kansas has won here in a row. Now in the lead, I guess, for most victories in a row at home.
Shane Jones tried to save it on the baseline, lost it out of bounds.
Coppin State had the lead for most wins in a row. And an old manager for KU that was there when I was there in '88, Bill Pope, is the assistant coach now on the North Carolina A&T team.
Man, you're
beat Coppin State.
You're
called up and said he was. Yeah, that's right. He called up and said he was doing it for KU. KU owed him a favor now.
Did his part.
You know, talking to Joe Holliday before the game, he was talking about how many schools do you know that produces managers that go on to be Division I coaches. Kansas has Jay Price at Purdue. And now I've just gone blank. We've got another manager at Colorado, another manager at Tulsa, and another manager at North Carolina A&T. These guys were managers, and now they're Division I assistant coaches.
Yeah, you have the stats. I'm impressed, Chris.
You got to come up with something every once in a while.
Here's Anderson scoring for the Aggies after a Pierce bucket. It's now 60-38. Now Pierce all the way to the hook at the bottom of the backboard, and Quesada with the rebound.
Paul Pierce really struggling. He's got 13 points, but he's only 4 for 14 from the floor, and that time he got a little bit of a stinger.
Anderson with a couple buckets in a row as he hits the baseline jumper. He now has 9 points, and it's 60-40. Radford and Robertson about to check in for Kansas. Here's guarded by Baroni. That's a mismatch there on the wing. Thomas, a wide open three. Top of the circle, Billy Thomas.
Give Jock Vaughn an assist on that one because he saw that the defense was guarding Billy Thomas at the top. And what he did, he was on the far wing. He ran to the middle of the floor, which drew that guard down onto him and left Billy Thomas wide open for the jumper.
Now Davis on his drive, a foul away from the ball. It's going to be called on Jock Vaughn. 63-40. Jayhawks. Billy Thomas straining a three. He has 8 points in the ball game. And Kansas in control by 23 points.
23 points. Let's take a look at here what I was talking about just before we went to timeout. You see Jock Vaughn over to the right. We've got him shaded for you, standing on the far wing. Watch Billy Thomas. He's going to come up through the middle of the lane and go up to the top of the key to shoot the three-pointer. See the Texas A&M guard go out, run to defend him. Jock Vaughn sees that, comes to the middle, draws that guard back in to the paint to guard him, and it opens up Billy Thomas for that wide open jumper. Smart, heady play by Jock Vaughn.
And Thomas has been red hot of late. And that was a pretty execution. The Aggies with the basketball now, trailing 63-40. Tracy Anderson over to Quesada. Steps through a couple defenders and lays it in, but he carried it. Now they didn't call that earlier in the ball game, but they called it that time as he stepped through a couple defenders on the baseline.
Well, if he wouldn't have traveled 25 feet to get to the basket with one dribble, they might not have called it. But you know, it looked like a good play, and the Texas A&M staff was saying he came to a jump stop, but 1 foot hit before the other, and that's what caused the travel.
Thomas with another three. He now has 11 points. On the other end, Davis, he lays it in, and he's got a chance for the conventional three-point play. Fans wanted to walk. They didn't get it.
Watch out, Rafe LaFrance is saying he never touched him. Looks from that angle that he didn't, but the official is standing behind Rafe LaFrance, and the offensive player for Texas A&M, Calvin Davis, is on the backside of Rafe LaFrance. So shielded the official. He made a judgment call, probably guessed it before it happened. But I tell you what, players make turnovers, officials make turnovers.
Davis now with 12 points. Thomas this time guarded closely by Brown. Over to Bradford. Into LaFrance, about 10 feet out. He's perfect from there. 25-point lead. Brown from the corner, and he hits another three. And Brown with 13. And you can see that this guy has a lot of potential. Just a freshman, Gerald Brown. Thomas for three. And he answers on the other end. And both teams opening it up now offensively.
We got a cook-off. Who can hit the most threes?
Thomas with 14 now. Quesada, and he's going to be fouled by T.J. Pugh way out high.
Yeah, that's always what you want to do, is have your big center fouling another center who can't hardly put the ball down on the floor 30 feet from the basket. But T.J. Pugh just trying to play good defense up in his face, and they call him for the body check.
It's 3 personals now on Pugh and the 6th team foul on the Jayhawks. 71-46 Kansas, and a blocking foul this time called on Nick Bradford. And the fans reacting to every call now.
Well, there's going to be a few booings going on when those officials run off the floor, but hey, that's part of coming here. KU fans have never seen their players foul, ever.
I don't think a player has ever thought they'd committed a foul.
No, that's true, too.
You never did you?
No, I never did. Hey, if you think you fouled, I mean, you might as well not even be out there. You're always playing.
Might as well hang him up, huh?
That's right. Shooter never thinks he's going to miss a shot. A fouler like me never thinks he fouls.
Davis short on that front end of the 1-on-1. Thomas with the rebound.
He might shoot from there. You better guard him.
There's Bradford on the wing. Depew in the paint. Almost loses the handle. Now he's going to be fouled. Gerald Brown reaching in. And Kansas now in the bonus. They'll head to the free throw line. For Brown, his 3rd personal. So TJ Pugh has yet to score. A chance to get into the record books here. Pugh has been solid at times in spurts, averaging 4 points on the season.
Texas A&M 4 for 11 from the free throw line. Not only have they not been able to hit the free throws when they get there, but they haven't gotten there at all. Kansas 22 attempts. Against Texas, Texas was 36 for 48 from the free throw line. That's a little rough to win a game when you're giving up that many points at the free throw line.
Makes for a long game as well. Pugh misses the free throw. Jayhawks hit over 90% of their free throws against UConn. They get 1 out of 2, and now a foul underneath on LaFrentz, his 2nd, and A&M will head to the stripe on the other end of the court.
You know that UConn game, UConn's missing 2 of their starters, and that's one of those games right then and there you know that it's not going to turn out the way you think. Let's watch here the rough action inside. Rafe LaFrentz going for the ball, but KU really showed some guts by 16 for 16 on the free throw line in the second half to win that game. That UConn team was fired up, had nothing to lose, missing 2 of their better players, and they came out with that 3-point barrage and put Kansas down. But this Kansas team has really showed a lot this year as far as being able to dodge a few bullets on the road and having good experience to really stick in the game and not get frustrated. One of the things that I thought was a great quote was one of the UConn players was talking about KU when they were down by 14, played the same as when they were down by 4. And that's what you got to do to win.
And it's good to be tested. This team hasn't coasted through a lot of games. There have been a few games that have pushed them a little bit, and that'll help them come tournament time.
Definitely.
72-48, Kansas pass underneath, left alone, Shane Jones, and he gets the 2-handed stuff.
A little mix-up on defensive assignment there for Kansas. That's a first true easy bucket I think that Texas A&M has had here all night.
There's Robertson on the baseline. Getting a hand in there was Jones, and a steal.
Yeah, we're going to see 5 new white shirts come on the floor here pretty quick.
Jones passing underneath, and foul's going to be called as Davis makes his move to the basket. And A&M at times moving the ball pretty well. Jayhawks will check in 5 new players now.
A&M's got some players. They've got some talent. Look at this nice little ball fake, and he passes that ball off of Nick Bradford's chin. You might as well use the defense to help you out.
A couple sophomores making that play. And Davis back at the stripe. Spent a lot of time there the last few minutes. But he's been unable to cash in. He's now 4 of 11. Calvin Davis 4 of 11 from the line.
Well, 3 fouls for him also. He's fouled out of his last 3 games, so
he gets 1 out of 2. 72-51 Jayhawks. 9.5 minutes to play in this one. Pollard along with Vaughn, Pierce, Williams, and Haas. New 5 on the court for Kansas. Vaughn at the arc. Spots Williams. Free throw line jumper. Way off the mark. Hit glass. Wasn't close on that one. Quesada with the rebound. The Aggies in last place in the Big 12. 0-4 and lost 7 straight coming into this one. Davis, an off-balance shot. Just barely draws glass. It'll go out of bounds and to the Jayhawks. Well, Jack Vaughn and company now removed to 19-0, and keep that nation's longest home court winning streak, 39 games. You were here when KU put the 55-game streak together, and those were some great times. Same type atmosphere right now. On for three. It's short. And a foul called underneath against the Jayhawks.
Well, every game sold out, crowd behind it. It's a great string that they put together here. Roy Williams has put some phenomenal teams on the floor, and you take a look at next year. They're going to be gone without Jock Bond and Jared Haas and B.J. Williams and Scott Pollard, but you got Ryan Robertson coming back. You got Nick Bradford and Billy Thomas filling in for Jared Haas. Paul Pierce still there. Rafe LaFrentz still there. A couple good signees. So just another reload year for Kansas.
No need to cry over next year's team. Another exciting year on tap. Jones misses another free throw, and the ball will go over to Kansas. 8:35 to play in this one, 72-51. And the Jayhawks will head to the other end of the court, and more free throws upcoming. Let's take a look at the answer to our Kansas Lottery trivia question. Back to the question. Richard Thomas of Hutchinson won $5,000 scratching lucky double-doubler from the Kansas Lottery. An instant way to make your day. The first 7-foot player to lead a Final Four in scoring and win a conference high jump title. The answer is, we'll get that after the free throw as Pollard connects. And here's the answer, the stilts. He could do it all.
You know, that is about the easiest trivia. There's only two guys within this whole vicinity that wouldn't be able to answer that, and that's our producer and director. They had no clue who that was.
I knew it wasn't Paul McKeskey.
No.
That was safe, but Pollard with another free throw. I don't think Mark Pellock would have fit in that category either.
No, he wasn't quite 7 foot. He was working on it.
Okay.
He never made it that far.
Full court pressure from the Jayhawks.
Boy, where'd you pull that name out?
I don't know. It just came out of nowhere. Baroni in trouble. Throws it away. Steal by Pierce. Pierce guarded by Anderson. Out high to Vaughn. Haas thought about the three. Another cross-court feed. Now Pierce on his drive to the baseline fouled. It'll be called on Tracy Anderson, and that's his third personal.
Well, if nothing else,
Davis instead on the personal foul.
Nothing else, Texas A&M has done a decent job of making Paul Pierce earn his points. I mean, he has not really been able to get to the basket that often. He's had a couple lob passes, but
still just a shade under his average. 14 points now. He came in averaging 15 per game. Pierce connects on both of them. 76-51. Kansas in control here in the second half. They led by 12 at halftime, and a big spurt to start the second half, and they've coasted from there. Anderson all the way to the bucket. He lays it in. Anderson now in double figures with 11 points. Pierce, a pump fake. Ball tipped out front to Vaughn. Pierce into the lane all the way to the hoop, and he's fouled on his drive. And Pierce starting to pad the average a little bit.
Yeah, he was thinking about dunking that one. He needed one more dribble to get himself in position. He was going to go up and try and yank that, but instead gets the foul and goes to the line.
Rafe LaFrentz replaces B.J. Williams.
This will be Kansas's 29th free throw attempt, and we still have 7 minutes left to go.
Pierce nails another one.
And Texas A&M is playing a zone defense.
When are they going to break out of it? You've got 7:49 to play in this one.
The thing is, when we used to play K-State, they played a 2-3 zone like that. They never fouled because they're in a zone. You're not that aggressive in it. But Texas A&M has got
zone's not working. Kansas in control, 78-53 here in Lawrence, Kansas.
As Jacques Vaughn, 5 assists here in the game. Gets a little pepperoni on that, maybe. Gets it up to Jared Haas, who with a strong finish. But Kansas has created their transition game off their defense, and Texas A&M has been pretty willing with 21 turnovers.
Well, the Jayhawks showing some zone. The 1-3-1 here out of the break. A&M seeing this for the first time. Underneath Jones, he's going to be fouled, and that's going to be whistled on Pollard. That's number 4 on Scott Pollard. Aggies did a nice job navigating the 1-3-1 that time.
Well, they're patient offensively, waited for the Kansas defense to come to them, and got the ball to the middle, which is the weak spot in that 1-3-1 zone defense.
And the Aggies convert on a free throw. Shane Jones, who now has 10 points. Sophomore from the Colony, Texas. He originally played at Stetson University and started 13 of their 14 games at the small forward spot. He misses the second free throw. Fronts out high. Kansas in control, 78-54. On the way to their 19th win to start the season. Vaughn drives to the baseline. Scoop shot up and in off the glass. That was a beauty.
Boy, tough shot. I think he was looking to pass the whole time. You see the smile on his face and got hung up there.
Vaughn with 5 points. Here's Baroni. His shot short off the iron. Rebound Pollard.
And a man up.
Vaughn ahead to LaFrentz. Misses the short lay-in. Left it short off the iron.
They actually had Jared Hass up even further than that. The Kansas offense off their defense. Those big guys, Jared Hass sprint up the floor looking for the pass. Tony Baroni going to go with the 22nd timeout.
6:41 to play here in this one. Kansas out to the 80-54 lead. LaFrentz with 18 points. Pierce and Hass with 17 apiece. Let's take a look at the sprint long distance play of the game. Kansas on offense.
Watch Doc Vaughn drive the baseline here. Looks like he's trying to get the ball inside, create something for Rafe LaFrentz. He's thinking about scooping it to him, but he sees the defense come to him, so he decides to throw it up off the glass anyway. But Jock Vaughn has that ability that not a lot of guys do have, and that's the ability to put himself in a position where he's going to either shoot or pass and still make something happen. A lot of coaches are going to tell you, go up to pass or go up to shoot and then pass, and Jock Vaughn has the ability to really create something in midair.
Safe to say you can't teach that, huh? Some of those things. The Aggies convert underneath. Shane Jones with a bucket. He now has 12 points and an 80-56 Kansas lead. 6:25 to play in this one. LaFrentz has his pass knocked out of bounds by Gerald Brown. Tony Baroni liking the effort from his club. They played hard, just outmanned in this one.
Well, there's no question they have played hard. They're trying to do what they need to do to become a better team, but they're still a young team. They've got a ways to go. Tony Baroni knew coming into this game, he viewed it as an opportunity, not a challenge, an opportunity for this team to learn and play in an environment that's many people think is the best in the country.
Pierce on the baseline, tipped by Pollard, in and out of there. Rolled off. On the other end, Anderson. Quesada will slow it down. Willie Thomas is into the game, replacing Jared Hass at the last break. Anderson with a spin move. And here's Calvin Davis, and he traveled with it. And another Aggies turnover, and
Calvin
that's
Davis
now
has 6 turnovers. That's 22 on the game for him. Actually 23, I think, but
Kansas only with 10 turnovers.
I think that's about the 3rd time that Calvin Davis has got called for sliding his pivot foot.
Some sophomore jitters. 80-56 Kansas with 5:40 to play, and there's a look at the numbers. Big part of this one.
32 points in transition. That's where they get their bread and butter, is running the ball up the floor after the turnover, which is created by their defense.
Roy Williams and company looking ahead to that game with Colorado Sunday in Boulder. Matchup of 2 unbeaten teams in the Big 12. Surprising Buffaloes. Here's Vaughn, and as he dishes off, they call for travel, and Coach Williams not happy. He said no way. It's an All-American out there, and he didn't take steps, and Williams really after the referee.
But you know, you might be questioning right now, why is Roy Williams so upset? Kansas has got a 24-point lead, but his players are in the game trying to do what they're supposed to do to compete. Roy Williams is going to sit there on the bench and let a call like that go by if he doesn't think it's a good call. He's going to compete just like his players.
Brown tries to pass off, stolen away. Here comes Pierce. Feeds Vaughn, left-handed, lays it in. And we're going to have a delay game warning on Vaughn as he knocked the basketball out of bounds. Jayhawk with 7 points in this one.
Hey, don't think this guy's not a competitor. It's just because he's got that smile on his face. Gets the elbow across the head from Quesada. He's not happy about it. He throws the ball out of bounds. Look at him. Tells Paul Jansen what he thinks, and he's going to go sit down on the bench, but let's not let that smile fool you.
Big hand for Vaughn. 7 points. Dished off some beauties in this one. Quesada from the baseline. That's long. Pierce tracks down the rebound. Tries to pass ahead. Stolen by Brown to Baroni.
And Brown is going to come back. Brown is down behind the scorer's bench trying to get back in the game.
Quesada, the stricker, saves it back into the hands of Quesada. Brown's back in there now.
He looked like one of those guys that gets knocked out on the sideline in football and runs behind the team. He was going to come out, I think, behind the water cooler down here. Come into the old sneak play.
Baroni double teamed by Pollard and Robertson, trying to find somebody. Finally spots Jones. His shot won't go. Rebound Pollard. Robertson ahead to Pierce for the jam. Great look by Robertson. 84-56 Kansas. And they're lifting the roof here at Allen Fieldhouse. 4:03 to go. Number 1 in control.
Let's take a look at this replay here. You know, Creative Sports has been doing this Jayhawk Network for years, and I've been around a lot of games, and we've got an excellent crew. Let's take a look at this replay Don Free's going to provide for us. Gerald Brown just trying to find a way, get back on the floor. He starts to go down the floor, then he comes back, finally gets back on the floor. But I tell you, Trey, I've had the opportunity to be on the road and do some games in other places, but always back in Lawrence, no matter what, at Allen Fieldhouse, we always have the best crew, bar none. So great job, crew.
Great shots, camera angles, and we've seen some highlights tonight.
And the director. Let's not talk about those guys.
We've seen some highlights tonight. Paul Pierce and Rafe LaFrentz have provided most of them, and they will check out of this one at the 3:52 mark. Pierce with 19, LaFrentz 18, and Kansas running away with this one. There's a look at Pierce's numbers. Started slowly and finished with a flurry. 15 in the second half. Alvin Davis gets both free throws. It's now 84-58 KU.
Well, we've seen a lot of games this year where Paul Pierce, with 10 minutes left to go, 15 minutes left to go in the game, only has 2 points, but he is such a scorer that he can light it up in a hurry, along with that guy, Billy Thomas.
Thomas with a long 2, missing. Rebound Baroni. Stricker backing in on Pugh. Turnaround short. Rebound B.J. Williams. Robertson now running the show over to Bradford. Ball tipped, stolen away. Baroni again out of there with it. The freshman. The ball top of the circle over to Davis. Long 18-footer won't go. Stricker with a rebound. Blocked by B.J. Williams. A&M right back though. Stricker lays it in.
That's 4 blocks by B.J. by my count. I don't know if that's official stats, but they've actually given him 3, but he has been active on the weak side, coming over for help defense.
24-point Kansas lead. Bradford throws up an air ball, but Pugh's there to get the garbage, and he's going to be fouled underneath. B.J. Williams with a big block shot. Let's take a look at that.
Now B.J. Williams struggling this year by even his own account. Offense, he just can't seem to get it put together for him. And take a look here. See that block shot. And like a rookie, I'm looking at the wrong monitor, but okay.
It was impressive.
Turnover. Give me one turnover for tonight.
There's T.J. Pugh. He knocks down the free throw and now has 2 points. You can see Pugh's progress through the course of this one. He's had some moments, some moves in the paint that have been pretty impressive.
He was great against Iowa State offensively. Came in and was really a force inside for him. T.J.'s problem is looking a little stronger with the ball sometimes. He's had the ball knocked out of his hands on some rebounds, and he's really bulked up. A lot of times it's just kind of concentration. Once you get the ball in your hands, make sure you keep.
Gerald Brown's going to try a 3. That's off the mark. Rebound Williams. 25-point Kansas lead, 2:20 to play. Robertson in a hurry all the way, and he's held on his way to the basket.
Well, that's twice now tonight that Ryan Robertson has just dribbled the ball the length of the court and had nobody pick him up defensively.
His eyes, I'm sure, get big when he sees the basket in front of him. Iowa State hangs on, beats K-State without Dedrick Willoughby, and Texas in a battle with the Sooners down in Austin. And the Huskers trying to win one in Columbia. Wildcats, big blow for Kentucky, by the way, losing Derek Anderson for the rest of the year, and Tubby Smith and company getting a win at home.
UConn down getting beat by Miami by 23 points. That's surprising. Oh, Jim Calhoun's just got to be hating that. They put up such a great performance against Kansas and then turn around against a team that they should probably beat and get beat by 23.
2:12 to go. Kansas about to bring in the third group, the walk-ons, here at the next break. An 87-60 Jayhawk lead. Baroni gets swatted by Pugh, but goes and gets the ball. 5'11" against 6'8" there.
He had nowhere to go with that ball. He was jumping up to throw it over the top of the defense.
And now Baroni's going to be fouled by Thomas. And the Jayhawks will go to the bench. Williams, Robertson, Thomas, and Pugh. The big ovation. Steve Ransom, Joel Brandstrom, C.B. McGrath, and Terry Nooner on the floor now.
Terry Nooner getting his jersey fixed. I don't think he was expecting to come back in the game, or actually get in the game. He was getting everything tucked in.
Nick Bradford also on the floor for Kansas. Baroni misses the first free throw. January 25th, the KU women host Colorado, and the Jayhawks invite you to help them top KU's 13,000-plus Big 8 single-game attendance mark set in 1993. Tickets just $1. On sale beginning tomorrow at Super Target in Lawrence, or call the KU ticket office 1-800-34-HAWKS for more info. Yankees missing both free throws. Kansas in control, 87-60 with 1:40 to play. Bradford on the baseline. His first points of the game.
Tough shot by Nick Bradford, taking a baseline, falling away. Didn't have a lot of minutes against UConn. Minutes are coming down a little bit for him. Ryan Robertson's kind of shifted to his position on the floor. And with Jacques Vaughn back in the game, we all know that Ryan Robertson is not playing the point as much. So Nick Bradford looks like he's the one on the short end of the stick. There's only so many minutes to go around.
Another turnover for Tony Baroni's club. 89-60 with 1:15 to play. Rock Chalk chant here at Allen Fieldhouse. KU will go to 19-0 and win their 39th straight here at Allen Fieldhouse, the nation's longest. McGrath tries to feed it out front to Brandstrom, who lost the handle. Nooner then turns it over into the hands of Calvin Davis. Under a minute to play. Up next, a trip to Boulder. Should be a good one. Kansas and the Buffaloes. And another Aggies turnover. Well, that's something you can control, taking care of the basketball, and the Aggies have not done that tonight.
Well, they've had a rough time of it. The Kansas pressure defense has really affected them.
McGrath misses the three. Rebound, Quesada.
They're young. They got to learn how to handle that ball. They got to learn to move without the ball. They really put a lot of pressure on their guards by not moving when they didn't have the ball in their hands, and really didn't give their guards any options as far as outlet passes.
Quesada, backdoor to Brown, misses the dunk, and the crowd will get on him for that one.
Well executed play. Nice backdoor cut by Gerald Brown. Nice delivery by Quesada, but
Nooner in and out. Final moments here at Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas trying to get on the board one more time. McGrath to Bradford. Brandstrom lost the handle. A fight for it. With one, Bradford misses, and that'll do it. Roy Williams' club impressive again. Winning it, going away here at Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas 89, Texas A&M 60. The Jayhawks remain perfect, 19-0 on the season. Convincing win in conference play over the Aggies, 89-60. Jayhawks doing it with Paul Pierce, Rafe LaFrentz and company in the big win. Thanks to Chris Piper, Mark Ewing, I'm Trey Bender. Goodbye from Lawrence, Kansas.